Channel, and today we'll be discussing technology in radiology by me. So, what is radiology? Well, radiology is a science that deals with X-rays and other high-energy machines to diagnose and treat diseases. Most commonly used or thought of radiological machine is the X-ray and ultrasound. But today we'll be going over more of those devices and what they specifically do in the radiological field. Now, before we go to the future and today's modern technology, we'll go back to what they did before and kind of the scary, messed up things they used to do before that. And here's our plague doctor to demonstrate how creepy medicine used to be in the late 18th and late 19th centuries before modern anatomy and medicine came into fruition. Now, there was many treatments that harmed the patients, most often bloodletting, which would be the cutting of certain areas in the arms or legs to let blood out. And this was done because they thought that the blood was contaminated with evil or vile or some negative form of containment that needed to be let out so that the person could heal. Often that would result in people dying from anemia and other blood-related diseases as that the wounds would get infected. Another one that is kind of good, but we kind of that they use wrong, but we still use it today are leeches. Now, leeches are used today in medicine, but it's a specific version of that genus of leeches. They before they would use any kind of leech, and those leeches would actually infect the people that they were draining the blood of. Unnecessary amputations. So this is quite funny because, or not really, but some wounds people would think are too serious, which they really weren't, and would amputate that part of the body, and that would cause a person to get gangrene or an infection and die from that. So, back then, if you had a rash, they could have thought it was a more serious problem and amputated, and that would be the result of you dying, not the rash itself. Another one was the removal of the incorrect organs, and this is funny because today's we use books like Gray's Anatomy and another anatomy books, but before then we used this very specific copy of an anatomy book. And one of the things that's funny about that book is that it was incorrect because it did not use humans to do the anatomy. It actually used animal anatomy, more specifically that of a dog. So when they need to remove certain parts of the organs, they would remove the wrong organ or the wrong section of that organ, which is very painful, I presume. Tools and the devices that we use in modern radiology. Some of the tools we use are X-rays, MRIs, CTs, ultrasounds, and PATs. Now, as you're wondering, there's a lot of abbreviations with those names, and yes, they do stand for something. Um, right now, you're also wondering how do some of these machines work if they're using radiation or if they're using radiation or some form of electromagnetic things. Well, I provided a video and a link just in case the video does not work, but it works, of how X-rays work and they actually function. So let's see that, and let's take a quick moment for that to happen. All right, great, you're back. Hope you didn't go watch other videos, and if you do, watch my videos. They're pretty great. The X-rays. The X-rays are electromagnetic radiation that is used to see into bones. And this works pretty well because the X-rays pass through skin and tissues. And that way we have a clear image of the bones. But we don't really see the other necessary things. So this is great for seeing one aspect of the human body but not the rest. And if you see the image, you see a person with a broken arm. And it looks like it's pretty bad. If anything, that person probably needs medical attention as of now. And then let's go to the next type of machine. And now we have the MRI, another famous machine used by radiologists, and the one that you most likely next to the X-ray you see in TV shows like Grey's Anatomy, The Good Doctor. I'm not sponsored or anything. I'm just those are good medical shows that I recommend people watch. Now the MRI is a magnetic resonance imaging, and it uses large amounts of magnetism and radio waves to give you clear images of the organs and structures of your body. And this can be paired with other machines that I'll be describing later on to create a specific image of the body. But this is good for seeing tumors, ligaments, and it's very useful for, and it's most commonly used for the brain and the spinal cord, which is great because that's what we need when people have serious injuries that need to be observed in the human body and can't be seen outside of it. CT scan, also known as the computed tomography scan. And now this is important because here's the image. Uh, it's important because it's a combination of X-rays taken cross-sectionally. That way we can see the cross-section of that certain part of the brain. But it also gives you a thermal reading, which is pretty important. That way we can see the temperatures in that certain cross-sectional area are the correct temperatures, or if they're different, to see what can happen. Now, this is important because we need to see those sections and the correct temperatures or the correct area to see the details and compare them to actual proper scans. And that's pretty much what the CTE is used for, and that's its uses. The one that is most important to developing mothers, the ultrasound, which, as the name suggests, it uses high frequency sound waves to make an image, kind of like sonar being graphed into a picture. And this is most likely used either for, and this is mostly likely used for studying a developed fetus, the abdomen, organs, muscle, tendons, to see if they're in the correct space, correct thickness, to see the space between spaces is correct, the cecums, and blood vessels. And it's important because generally you can get the 3D image and get a 3D sense of the image, but you don't see if that space is being filled by something or being. It gives you a correct idea of how the image should look like in a section of the body, and that's really important because, as I said, you need to know if let's give for example the blood vessel has a clot. An X-ray won't give you that image. An MRI will give you a cross-section image, so you won't know how large it is or the spacing of it. But the ultrasound will probably give you a good idea of the space, the width, the length that clot is taken, and that's why it's also useful in things when it comes to the blood. Not only the blood vessels, not only the fetuses, where it's most commonly used in. Next up, PET, which is a positron emission tomography. And it's nuclear medicine, which is very important because this gives you probably the best look into very, very small details. Most likely the metabolism and functions like that. But that's important because you need to see them. And that gives you a clear image of what's occurring in the body throughout time. And that's probably important because we need to see how the metabolism's working, and not only that, but also the temperature and how the body functions to diagnose these diseases. Because often in that, X-rays just give you the image, but that's it. It doesn't give you an indication of how it's going through time, and certain aspects of it. But this gives you kind of a slow idea of what's happening in the human body and what are these functions. Imaging, which is a dual system, which means it's using two different types of machines. It's using the MRI and the CT scan to create an image. But the good thing is it creates a almost extremely very detailed image. The bad thing is it's just an image of that area and doesn't give you a whole idea what's going on around it. So it's like looking into a very nicely detailed puzzle piece, but not having the rest of the pieces to know what's going on. It's an end to our video presentation in technology in radiology. I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, remember to press the like button, comment, subscribe to see how we're doing and how can we improve in this video. And the next thing are my sources. I hope you have a great, wonderful day, and that'll be all.